Hello, welcome to the Oshkosh Poet Show. I'm Tom Cannon, the host. I am the inaugural Poet Laureate of Oshkosh. If you are interested in having a poet come speak at your organization, you can email me at oshkoshpoetlaureate@oshkoshpubliclibrary.org, or you can find out more information at my website, thomascannonauthor.com. Love the season you're in. Frost-covered windows, 4 o'clock gloom, frigid winds gnaw fingertips, slushy roads, wet boots, daughters vegged on couches, boys curled up with books but watching cartoons. Home, the dog, cats, and staying in. This poem is a great reminder to me of what I was always been grateful for. In the darkness of one cold January spell, I was desperately looking for something to be grateful for. Yes, it was miserable outside, but then I could just get this picture of my home and my children. As you can tell, we were spending quantity time together, not quality time. So in other words, the kids weren't really doing anything. I probably wasn't either. But it just made me happy to see them and have them around. Poems remind us of what we have. Poems are also a way to process sadness. I've really been reinforced with this after I watched a YouTube video entitled "The Simple Act of Writing Can Dramatically Improve Your Mental Health." And I began to develop a theory. But first, let me tell you a little bit about this video. Allison Fallon, she's the founder of Find Your Voice. And in this video, she talks of how writing activates the part of your brain that therapy is trying to reach. In the video, she shows us how writing can change our lives. She describes how she began to write this book, a book that she never expected to publish, and this allowed her to take control of her story. Writing was a cathartic experience for her. It absolutely has been for me as well. Mrs. Fallon goes on to describe how writing puts our brain in the same therapy that therapy is shooting for. Now, we want to change our lives, but we can't change our lives by what we want. It has to be through our habits that we do every day. And so much of our habits, much of the things we do each day, is kind of dictated by our self-conscious thoughts. And so we really have to be intentional with knowing ourselves. And by doing that, then we change our daily habits. So in this video, she talks about writing and journaling, and I absolutely recommend any kind of writing. Like she says in the video, expressive writing does not require any training. Anybody can do it, on anything. Now, keeping a journal or free writing allows us to define what is going on in our lives. And it allows us to look on what is in our mind in a new way. Poetry does the same. And even more, as you form your poetry, as you do it, you kind of process your feelings. Okay? I believe it separates yourself from those feelings, and then you can begin to take control of what you're thinking about. Now, expressive writing definitely helps you have new ideas and realizations about the situation you're in. It just helps you see more of it. The problem is when we get stressed and depressed, we stop seeing our options. We become myopic. So this type of writing helps you to gather information, even if it's just about yourself. And then I believe poetry takes this information and puts you in charge. You decide the story and how you want it to end. It empowers you. It allows you to declare the new you and define your newfound strength. With that in mind, I want to read an unpublished poem of mine. I wrote it a long, long time ago after a breakup. Now, it was probably a stupid thing to do, but after the breakup, I put a dozen roses in this young lady's car, this woman that dumped me. That evening, she put them, it was January, and she put them back in my car. Of course, I was hurt, and I'm sure I was angry, but writing this poem helped me to get the image out of my head and onto this paper. I could then kind of forget about it. I didn't have to obsess on it. Then eventually I became focused on being creative so that I could share with it. I stepped back from the hurt and the pain So instead of this bad memory, I have a poem. I never actually told anybody else about this thing, but I was able to record it so that when the time came, I was able to share it on my own terms and my own time. It just so happened that my desire to share it happens 30 years later. Crush. Frozen feelings on the front seat. Crisp, tender petals turned brown in the blowing heat. Offering returned, left to ossify in the January night. Rejection blows through the open window, stings my face. Again, now, to me, it's something I can share, and I hope that somebody else can hear that poem and maybe identify with it. And I can see now it's just, something happens, and that's my story. And I feel better by having shared it. And I'm thankful for getting to share a few minutes with you. I hope you enjoyed your time, and invite you to connect with me on thomascannonauthor.com and check out my books. Thank you.